Hey everyone, my name is Kenny. Today's video is going to be all about syncing the carbs on the 2005 Yamaha Banshee. Sorry everyone, thank you for checking out this video. We have the 2005 Yamaha Banshee sitting right here behind us, and if you're wondering why we're going to complete part 2 of these two videos with syncing the Banshee carbs, it's because on the 92 I'm pretty sure that I'm losing compression somewhere, and I'm going to do a leak down test on it. So with it losing compression, I am having extra airflow into the system, so it wants to high rev and low rev, but this one doesn't. So on that video we did discuss how to sync the carbs, or getting them close to be able to, fire on both cylinders. And this one we're going to actually use the carb syncing tool. I think it's called an airflow meter, and we're going to sync the carbs up, increase the idle, and make sure everything else looks good. Yeah, I'm going to be buying that leak down test setup so that we can get those carbs on the 92 synced. They're eventually going to go on this, but I'm going to tell you the plans for this machine here at the end of this video. Got a whole bunch. We're going to go ahead and get this seat off. Looks like we already have a K&N style filter in there. So yeah, I think we're going to have a nice setup. Looks like we have the ProFlow adapter thing here. We have the standard air box that's going to go in there, and they did the tour delete stock carbs. We're just going to go ahead and take this out. All right, so now remember, I didn't build this machine. I'm going to, so things are not going to probably be there as they would be. Different size bolts. We're going to try to sync that up, make it all uniform, and we're going to just clean up some of these wires and things in here. But when we take these things apart, remember that I'm going to try to put them together the right way later on once we start to build this thing. Right now I just want to make sure it's going to be good and working. All right, we've got one 10mm right here. And we're going to loosen up these two carburetor clamps. Both loose. So the whole air box should just slide forward, come right about the top. We'll see if it's that simple. As I figured it wouldn't be so simple, we're gonna go ahead and take the other two clamps off the front of those carburetor boots and just go ahead and get those boots removed completely. First boot is off. So it never goes as you plan. I did end up going ahead and taking both boots off. If you're going to take them off, just make sure you don't punch holes in them, because you're going to have a leak and have the high idle. But now we have tons of space down in here. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure, but like I said, whole hand space that can go between the carb and the boot. So we're going to now see. All right, we can slide that forward. Back it up. All right, so now we have the coolant overflow tank pushed back. We have the air box pushed back. We can actually just get this started and put the tool on. So here's the syncing tool that I was talking about I purchased earlier. This tool basically, it works off of vacuum and suction. So you have the carburetors here, you put this right up against the back of the carburetor, and a slight suction will make that go up and down. So what we're going to do is just basically get this started, see if we can get the idle adjusted exactly the same on both carbs so we don't have any issues, and then just make sure that our floats go up and down at the same time, and then our carbs are synced. But yeah, we're going to come down here on the side of this OEM carb, as you see here, take this 10mm and break loose and locking that down there. Well, I kind of don't like how that fits on there. It just doesn't have much space. But it's broke loose. You can move the idle. Same thing on the other side. Raise the idle a little. All right, we're gonna go ahead and just put the idle screws in and kick it again. All right, with the idle screws up, it actually started this time and stayed running. So we're gonna go ahead and screw those in a good bit more and get that idle up. Start with a high idle, and then we can worry about getting it down here in a bit. Let's get that tool and put it on carb number 1. I think we're at about 10. Sorry, it's a little bit blurry there. But you can see the red needle moving, and we're bringing it down to about 6. Well, actually 5 there. And we're going to do the other carb the exact same way, and we're going to get it down to 5 as well. As we turn it, you see that needle slowly going up, and the idle is slowly coming down. This one on 6, so we'll put the other one back up to 6. We decided to call it even at 6 on both sides. You're going to do a lot of back and forth checking, so just be prepared for that. Now put that flathead screwdriver in there and then hold it nice and snug. Use your finger to tighten that 10mm down as close as you can. And then you put that box in on there and use it in conjunction with the flathead, and you should be able to snug down that idle screw and it will not move. After this is complete, you know what we're going to have to do. Check the flow again. All right, everyone, so that was pretty simple. Holding that screw and then tightening up that 10mm wasn't the hardest thing in the world. So we have our idle where I want it to be. The next thing I'm going to do is just visualize and make sure that my slides are lifting up and down. What I'm also going to do is just tighten up my thumb throttle a little bit just to make it idle a little higher, so I can make sure that my slides are where they should be and they're coming up evenly and getting the same amount of flow going through them as they go through the engagement. All right, let's go ahead and get this nut right here loosened. All right, so we're able to screw this out and increase the idle. So we've been able to pull that out a little bit, increase the idle just from up here. Takes all that little extra play out of the lever as well. We're just going to make sure we have the same flow going through them. Then we're going to get this thing back together and hit it with a couple of blips for you. All right, so at this point we already have it revving a good bit higher than idle. So we're going to go ahead and just check it with the flow meter. And it looks like one side is sitting at about 7. And the other side is going to actually be sitting at about 10. So what we're going to have to do is take that 10mm, loosen that bolt at the very top, and then just twist the lower part of the cable until we get it up to 10. You can hear the idle coming up, and that's exactly what we want. And now both carbs should be perfectly in sync. 10 on one side, and now 10 on the other. Now don't forget to hold it very sturdy and very firm. Snug up that 10mm, and we should be good to go. All right, so So that was it. As you saw, the first one on the clutch side was at about a 10, and the other side was at about an 8. So Yamaha's make it really easy. If you unscrew that 10 millimeter at the bottom, you can easily just twist that little rubber covered bolt right there, and then I've raised them both up to about 10. So they're in sync now. We have the idle where it should be. We have the slides coming up and down in sync. We're just gonna go ahead and screw this back in, tighten it up, put everything back together, kick a couple times for you. All right, everyone, so that's it. That's how you sync the carbs in a Yamaha Banshee Part 2. So we use the flow meter on this one. Let's get the seat on, make sure we do good. All right, so that's perfect. All right, everyone, so we're gonna be getting this video wrapped up. As you can see, the sun is going down. There is snow outside. I got on a pullover. It is getting a little cold out here, but the future plans for the Banshees, right? So this Banshee right here is going to get a 2005 makeover. I'm not going to take it back to factory, but I'm going to keep it factory looking. So my plans for this machine are new plastics. Going to get new plastics for the whole thing, new seat cover. We're going to get the frame powder coated, A-arms, swing arms powder coated to match the frame back to that factory color. We're going to break down the motor, replace the seals and the gaskets and things in there. We're going to do some slight porting to the cylinders, clean it up, give it a little bit more power. We're going to go from 26 millimeter carbs, the factory ones, to I think 28 millimeter key-in carbs. We're going to put the DG exhaust on this one. This one really isn't going to have a whole bunch of crazy power, so I want to use the FMF if I can't. Now, if I can find some CPIs or some T6s or another even set of FMF, I'll leave the FMF on here and I'll put the FMFs also on the 4 mil build that I'm going to be doing. But this is going to get a complete makeover, take back to a stockish look. We are going to polish the wheels and things, clean all that up, make it all look good down there. Axle, bearings, brakes, build it up. So we're just going to basically keep the motor stock, and we're just going to port the cylinders and just give it a little bit more fuel. Keep the stock air box because I don't want this to be anything crazy. And that's going to be my plans for this. A really simple cleanup. The one that's going to be a little bit more in detail is the 1992. We're not going to talk about that in this video. So make sure to hit that like button and subscribe.